So today's topic is love. And Nandini has already spoken a lot and very beautifully on love. Whatever is little bit that is left on love, that I will speak about. Okay? So we'll begin with our 2 slides, which are the motto of our spiritual retreat for this year. Can we all read it together? If you only do what you can do, you'll never be better than you are. Kung Fu Panda, Master Shifu. Arise, transcend thyself. Thou art man, and the whole nature of man
is to become more than himself.
Sri Aurobindo. This is going to be in the light of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. What is love? So children, I want you to define love. Who wants to talk about love? What is love?
Ma'am, my name is Arav Shukla and I am from class 7th D. Ma'am, आत्म के प्रति खिंचाव प्रेम होता है.
My God, so beautiful. Very beautiful, Arav. अब मैं जाऊं क्योंकि आपने तो बोल दिया जो मुझे बोलना था. हाँ, thank
No,
you.
ma'am.
Very beautiful. I think he deserves a clap. आत्मा की तरफ खिंचाव ही प्रेम होता है. वेरी ब्यूटिफुल. और कोई बोलेगा व्हाट इज ट्रू लव? यस, एट द बैक.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm
af-
Srijita Banerjee from class 7A, and I would like to say love is like a plant, attachment is like the thorn. So that's what the definition of love and attachment for me.
Love is like a plant which blooms, which blossoms, which gives us shade, which gives us light.
And attachment is often something which hurts us, but still we are bounded
Yes.
by it.
Okay. Nice. Very nice, Srijita. Yes, my dear.
मैम, आई एम समरवीर सिंह फ्रॉम क्लास 7G. मैम, जो सामने वाले की चेतना को बढ़ाए वह है प्रेम.
How beautiful is that? ये क्या बच्चे हैं? Beautiful.
मैम, आई एम कार्तिक अग्रवाल ऑफ क्लास 7C.
Yes.
मन की चाह ही प्रेम है. प्रेम वह है जो सामने वाले को आगे ले आए.
हाँ, इसमें आपने 2 बातें बोली. आपने
Yes,
बोला
ma'am.
मन की चाह प्रेम है.
यस मैम.
आई डिसएग्री विद दैट एंड वील टॉक अबाउट इट लेटर. मन की चाह कैसे प्रेम हो सकता है? मन की चाह तो डिज़ायर होता है, और डिज़ायर प्रेम से नहीं उपजता है. हमारे खुद के डिज़ायर से उपजता है, अपने ही फुलफिलमेंट के लिए होता है, तो वो प्रेम नहीं होता. बट आपने सेकंड सेंटेंस क्या बोला?
प्रेम वह है जो सामने वाले को आगे ले जाए.
हाँ, जो दूसरे को फ्री कर दे, लिबरेट कर दे, दूसरे को आगे का रास्ता दिखाए, प्रोग्रेस का मार्ग दिखाए, वो प्रेम होता है. वेरी गुड. यस, एट द बैक. प्रकाश.
मैम, प्रेम वो है जो हमारे साइकिक बीइंग को निरंतर चाहिए. जैसे हमें खाना हमेशा नहीं चाहिए, हमें नंदिनी जी ने समझाया था उस दिन, हमें खाना नहीं चाहिए हमेशा, हमें प्रेज नहीं चाहिए हमेशा, मगर प्रेम वो चीज़ है जो हमारी आत्मा को हमेशा चाहिए. वास्तविक प्रेम वो चीज़ है जो हमारी आत्मा को हमेशा चाहिए.
बहुत सुंदर. नंदिनी ने बोला था, बोली इतना अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दिया. बोली कि कोई अपने को ऑनर करता है तो 1 माला पहनाता है, 2 माला पहनाता है, 3 माला. आफ्टर सम टाइम विल से बस इतना ऑनर भी नहीं चाहिए. खाना, कोई जलेबी पसंद है, जलेबी, नंदिनी का एग्जाम्पल है, जलेबी परोसा जाएगा, हम खाते जाएंगे, फिर बोलेंगे बस. बट प्रेम के लिए कोई नहीं बोलता कि बस और प्रेम मत करो मुझे, क्योंकि प्रेम कितना सुंदर होता है, सीधे ईश्वर से आता है. वेरी ब्यूटिफुल. ओके, वन मोर आंसर, देन आई कैन गो अहेड.
Ma'am, my name is Vasundhara Priyadarshini from class 11A. When all you do is give without ever taking something in return, when the art of giving itself is enough to satiate your desires, or yourself in fact.
The art of giving
Yeah.
can satiate your desires. So your desires can be subverted, can reach a higher level of being able to give.
Yeah.
Very nice. I think you children are quite clued into love. Very beautiful. Love is one of the most beautiful experiences of life. Love is the road that leads to the divine. जैसा एक बच्चे ने यहाँ कहा था, love is the road that will lead you to the psychic being itself, to the soul itself. Love is the only cure for grief. It is the only cure for grief. Love is the beginning of all that is शुभ, all that is auspicious, वो कहाँ से शुरू होता है? वो प्रेम से शुरू होता है. Love leads to liberation. अगर हम किसी को प्रेम करते हैं तो उसको छोड़ देते हैं कि आप हमें प्यार करते हैं तो करिए, नहीं करते हैं तो यू आर फ्री, बट आई कैन नॉट स्टॉप लविंग यू, राइट? लव लीड्स टू liberation. And one of the very important things, important statement that I'll state now, but we'll go back to it later. Love is not just an emotion. Love is a decision. Love is not just an emotion. Love is a decision. Can somebody explain to me? We won't come back to it. We'll talk about it now. Love is not just an emotion. Love is a decision. कौन समझाएगा मुझे? Yes, Krinali.
Ma'am, as per what I've understood from the statement, ma'am, it's not an emotion. Ma'am, as one person stated कि मन का खिंचाव जो है वो प्रेम है. आपने कहा था नहीं, तो मन का जो स्वाभाविक खिंचाव है, मतलब कि वो इधर जा रहा है उधर जा रहा है, इट्स फाइंडिंग समथिंग, तो वो प्रेम नहीं हो सकता. वो एक केवल इमोशन है, वो केवल ढूंढ रहा है कुछ. लेकिन जब हम निर्णय करते हैं, कॉन्शियस डिसीजन लेते हैं, जब हम चूज करते हैं प्रेम, जब हम उसका चयन करते हैं, तो वास्तव में वो प्रेम होता है.
Because then it becomes a decision to love irrespective, right?
जब हम एक ज्ञान से, एक चेतना की तल से किसी चीज का चयन करते हैं, निर्णय करते हैं, तब वह प्रेम है.
डिसीजन करते हैं कि हम प्रेम का मार्ग ही अपनाएंगे, irrespective, unconditional, right? Thank you, very nice. So, from our experience, sometimes we find that some love seems to be like a difficult problem to solve. Because right from the beginning, from our school time, college time, we are never taught about the origin of love. कोई भी चीज़ को समझना है तो उसके ओरिजिन तक जाना चाहिए ना. बट बचपन से हमको कोई ने कभी बताया ही नहीं कि लव का ओरिजिन क्या है. What is the nature of love? What is the essence of love? वाटर का तो एसेंस बता दिया, 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen. लव का एसेंस क्यों नहीं बताया गया हमको? ये तो स्कूल में बताना चाहिए ना. और उसका ओरिजिन कहाँ से है ये भी बताना चाहिए. फ्रॉम चाइल्डहुड वी एक्सपीरियंस लव. वी एक्सपीरियंस लव इन वेरियस कलर्स. We experience love for our mother, for our parents. We experience love for a friend or a sibling. We experience love for somebody of the opposite sex, and so on. And then what happens? We see movies, और आजकल तो we see web series. एक के बाद एक के बाद एक. We read books. And what happens through all that? We create a fantasy. We create a fantasy of love in our mind and in our emotional being. And we often face problems on the path of love. Why? Because generally we start thinking that love is an emotional attraction to somebody else. Or we start believing that my desire for somebody else means that I love that somebody else. But we should be able to see, is this my desire? Is this an emotional attraction? Or is it truly love? So the mother has said, love is not vital attraction and interchange. Love is not the heart's hunger for affection. You want to just read it silently? To understand what love is, we must know what love isn't. नहीं तो हम उसी में भूले भटके रह जाएंगे, right? So, Sri Aurobindo and the mother have written about love not just from an ordinary perspective. They have spoken of love as one of the essential aspects of the divine and as a fundamental principle of the universe. So we were talking about the origin of love. You know, divine love is at the origin of the universe. Now, I'm sure Shashwat can explain through a verse You remember that verse that we often quote in our talks? Ritam cha satyam cha vidha tapasodhya jayata tatah samudro arnava tato ratri jayata tatah samudro arnava. So, when the divine, there was only the divine. And then he wanted, out of his own love, he wanted to expand and he wanted to become many. And out of his, because of he loved, out of his love he became more than himself. Right? So at the origin of the universe is love. Right? With this brief introduction, now let us try to understand what love is in its highest being, highest aspect. For that, let us first start noticing the presence of love around us. We think that love only manifests in human beings. But is that true? No. The mother says that there is love in the plants. And we see it. Plants give us shade. They give us fruits. They give us flowers. They give us oxygen. How much they give us and what do they ask for in return? Nothing. They don't ask for carbon dioxide. They will get it anyway. Even in the forest where nobody is staying, the plants are still thriving. It is just by God's beautiful designing of the universe that what we are emitting, the plants are taking, and what the plants are emitting, we are taking. We are using, we are needing. But then the plants are not asking for it. Right? So, we see that there is love in plants. You know, the mother has said, and Sri Aurobindo also has said this specifically, that there is consciousness and love in stones as well. वो कोई बिरला ही होगा जो उसको समझ सकेगा. कभी एक पत्थर को उठा के जो रास्ते में है, he says, Sri Aurobindo says that the stone that we kick out of just ऐसे तो कुछ भी नहीं है. Even that stone is emitting vibrations which are in its own way affecting the whole universe. So अगली बार जब हम एक पत्थर को भी किक करें तो हमारे अंदर एक कॉन्शियसनेस होनी चाहिए कि उस पत्थर में भी कॉन्शियसनेस है. ठीक है? And that there is love in animals. Can anybody deny that? Anybody who has had a pet at home will have realized the love that the animal has for us. What has happened in human beings? Human beings have unfortunately turned love into a very difficult phenomena. It doesn't have to be difficult. Because even in human beings, if you notice, with the first contact of love, we bring down love in its purest substance. In the beginning, when we fall in love, what happens? The purest love comes down into us. And for that moment, we are able to forget ourselves. And we are able to give. And the divine love has touched us. And all that is fine and beautiful comes out of us. But afterwards, unfortunately, comes to the surface our human nature. After a few years or after a little time, that human nature, which is so difficult, we've talked about our emotional nature, our mental nature, we've talked about in the first aim of spiritual retreat. So to the surface comes the human nature, full of its impure demands, asking for something in exchange. And then what do? We distort that love that was divine. In the beginning, the love was divine, but later, because the human nature comes to the surface, that beautiful love starts becoming distorted in human beings. So, children, the mother has described the 4 stages of love. Now, you put yourself at whichever rung you are in, right? At the first rung, the mother says, one loves only when one is loved. If you love me, I will love you. This is the first stage, ordinary. At the next stage, one loves spontaneously, but one wants to be loved in return. Okay, even if you don't love me, I will love you. But when I love you, I want you to love me. But if you rise a little higher, then then one loves, even if one is not loved. But still there is one demand. What is that demand? Now you don't love me, it's okay. You don't love me in return, it's okay. But if I love you, I want you to accept my love, acknowledge my love. एक बार बोल दो कि हाँ, she loves me. ठीक है ना? And finally, one loves purely and simply without any other need or joy than that of loving. What does this fourth stage mean? Can someone explain to me?
Unconditional love, where there are no strings attached to it, when we don't want something in return, when we don't want to be accepted, even when we are not accepted, even when we are not loved back. Still, we give that love. We want to spread that love. We want to share that love.
Very nice. Fourth stage of love is that time when our consciousness has reached that stage, and I love this term, where we cannot but love. Do you understand that phrase? When we reach that stage, when we cannot but love, whether my love is accepted or not, whether I am loved in return or not, whether I am loved at all or not, I can't help it. I can't help it. I just cannot help it but love.
Ma'am, the biggest example of unconditional love is like, ma'am, a mother loves her child.
Yes, very nice example. Like a mother loves her child, whether the child loves her or doesn't, whether he speaks nicely to her or doesn't, the mother still keeps on loving. Good. So,
ma'am, may I add something?
Yes, ma'am,
I don't
please.
know whether I'm right or wrong, but that stage is perhaps the state of perpetual joy.
Yes.
When you love just for your own sake
Yes.
and not for any other reason.
You love not for your own sake, but you love for the sake of the divine. Because you've touched the divine
true.
love inside you. And that's like a fountain. And it just pours and pours and pours and pours and cannot stop pouring, irrespective of anybody else, whoever you are loving, whatever be their behavior towards you, however they may be, you cannot help it. Because there is no longer the mind that is working. It is the psychic from where the love is flowing. And the center of consciousness is shifted from the physical being. It had moved to the vital being, then it moved to the mental being, and then it moved to the psychic being. And once it went to the psychic being and got rooted there, and once your consciousness is rooted in your soul, it is rooted in your psychic being, you cannot help it. You've touched the fountain of love, and it will just flow and flow. It becomes our innate nature to love. And what flows out from us to the other person is only love. Remember that beautiful song? केवल प्यार है, केवल प्यार है. And हम वहाँ उस प्यार तक कैसे पहुँचे? सिंधु की गहराइयों तक भी गए. We travel through the difficult course. We travel through our own being. We travel through the filth of our mind. We travel through the emotions, which are like such an ocean which is turbulent. And it's a long journey. Very long journey. Very difficult journey. Till we finally reach the luminosity of our soul. We start experiencing our soul, and there we discover divine love. Because we have discovered divine himself, we discover love. In this stage, my dear students, there is no other person for us. Why? Why is there no other person for us? Because we've realized, like Saransh had said, that there is only one. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now we are not Lagu Chetasam. We have now become vaster and vaster. And that is the aim that we live in this world for. To become vaster and vaster than we are. Right? Because who am I but the divine? Right? But We are imperfect just now. We are evolving from an imperfect outside towards a perfect outer being. And who is helping me in this pursuit? Who is helping me in this pursuit? This pursuit of this outer being being imperfect, turning into the perfect. Who is helping me in that? And where is the divine seated? Yes. Then we reach the consciousness that I am the soul. And the soul is God Himself. We've talked about it. God said, Bahusyam, Bahusyam. God became many. Each one of us is that. But our outer being is imperfect and our inmost being is perfect. All we have to do is keep connecting till we get rooted over there. Right? You know what Swami Vivekananda said? He said the living God is within you and you are building churches and temples. The only God to worship is the human soul in the human body. यही है हमारा चर्च, यही है हमारा गुरुद्वारा, यही है हमारा मंदिर. इस मंदिर में बार बार दिन में हजारों बार नमन करना है. राइट? We live in the consciousness of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. Earth indeed is my family. The whole universe is my family. We start living in the consciousness of Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva, the omnipresent being, is all that is. From the Bhagavad Gita. Does anybody want to tell me the whole verse?
Bahunam janmanamante
ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति समहात्मा सुदुर्लभः.
Very good. So that Vasudev, the omnipresent being, is all that is. But only a few have understood this and are living it. So now, with this introduction, let us come back to our topic. We have still not said what is love. Till now we have discussed the different stages of love as explained by the mother. We have said what love isn't. Let us repeat what love isn't. Love is not vital attraction and interchange. Love is not the heart's hunger for affection, the mother. Now, before we go to the next slide, now I want to see if anybody knows what love actually is. अभी तक तो खाली समा बंद रहा था. लव अनकंडीशनल है, ये तो एक प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ लव है. लव में एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं है. दिस इज अ प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ लव. व्हाट इज लव? Even teachers are allowed to answer. Can anybody tell me what really is love?
Ma'am, love is an unbreakable bond, ma'am, between two people or even more than two people. Ma'am, अगर हम किसी से प्यार करते हैं तो हम उससे किसी चीज़ की अपेक्षा नहीं करते हैं. वो जैसा है हम उसे वैसे ही पसंद करते हैं और उसे हम नहीं पसंद करते, उसे हमारी अंदर की आत्मा पसंद करती है. क्योंकि अगर हम उसे पसंद करते हैं तो वो मोह बन जाता है. और मोह और प्रेम में बहुत फ़र्क होता है. मोह हमारे स्वार्थ के लिए होता है, जहाँ वहीं पे प्रेम हम दूसरों से करते हैं. और अगर हम प्रेम करते हैं तो पूरी दुनिया हमारे लिए परिवार समान हो जाती है.
अच्छा, ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा. बट अभी भी दिस इज नॉट टोल्ड अस व्हाट इज लव.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
गुड आफ्टरनून.
I am Shrejita Banerjee, class 7A, and I would like to say to become the divine's nature is love.
To become the divine's nature is
Yes, ma'am.
love.
It's love. Ma'am, for me it is love.
Okay, for you that is love.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, my name is Ojasvi. I am from class 7D. And ma'am, प्रेम मन की स्वाभाविक दशा का बोध है.
प्रेम मन की स्वाभाविक दशा का
बोध है.
बहुत सुंदर हिंदी में आपने बोला कि मन की जो स्वाभाविक दशा है वो प्रेम है. वेरी ब्यूटिफुल, वेरी ब्यूटिफुल.
Thank you.
थैंक यू. लास्ट आंसर. यस
मैम, जब एक इंसान स्वार्थ नहीं करता है और वह सब कुछ त्याग देता है मैम, उसको लव कहते हैं।
अच्छा ठीक है, अब हम भी जवाब दे दें, हम हैंड्स अप, माय चांस, हाँ, कैन आई गेट अ चांस नाउ? ओके, सो वी हैव टू नाउ आंसर व्हाट इज लव. Love is a mighty vibration coming straight from the One, and only the very pure and very strong are capable of receiving and manifesting it. Let us all read it together, then let us all read it silently. It's a very important quotation of the Mother which describes love. What is love? Love is a mighty vibration coming straight from the One, and only the very pure and very strong are capable of receiving and manifesting it. Read it silently, my dear students. This is something that you must remember. Love is a force and an action. Remember what I had said earlier? Love is not a feeling. What did I said? Love is not a feeling, it is a decision. What is the decision? That I will go on making an attempt to connect to love within my own being till I reach it, till I root myself in it, till love flows out. It's a decision that love will flow out from me. And how will it flow out from me? Like a force, like an action. Love cannot be मैं अपना बस बैठे हैं. I love everybody. If you love everybody, it will show in your actions. Because it is a force, it can't stay locked in its ivory towers. Love is a force, love is an action. Love is a mighty vibration coming straight from the One. And only the very pure and the very strong are capable of receiving and manifesting it. Divine love, my dear students, is not just a feeling. It is a force, it is a mighty force. It's a mighty force in action. It is a force of divine love that made him expand and expand and expand and become this universe. Become you, become me, become all of us. Someday we will talk about the story of creation. The earlier children who have gone through many spiritual retreats have heard the story of creation several times. They've even done the drama of that. So they've understood how God became this universe. He didn't create this universe. He's not a creator. No. He's not an artist. He became the universe. He expanded himself. Ritam cha satyam cha abhidat tapsodhya jayata. Tatah samudro tatah ratri jayata. Tato samudra arnava. It is divine love that became us. It is divine love that nurtures us, supports us. Our earth, the solar system, this universe, this expanding galaxies, all existence, all of us, all exist. Why? Because divine love exists. Like true scientists, let us try and discover where true love really exists. So we may soak it, so we may drink from that fountain. And once we drink from that fountain, it will flow out from us. See, children, scientists have analyzed. Here I'm not a scientist, not theology, so whatever I say, take it with 3-4 pinches of salt. So, scientists have analyzed water and they've said 2 particles of hydrogen, 1 of oxygen. Then when they said, atoms can be broken down further into a nucleus, into electrons, protons and neutrons. But what are these protons and neutrons made of? Have scientists been able to find out the answer? Have scientists been able to find out what is contained in the nucleus? In the very first spiritual retreat, if you all remember, we had the seeds of a banyan tree on everybody's table. Remember? And what did we do? We said, kuch to hoga is seed mein. That this seed, this little tiny seed can turn into such a big bargat, Such a big banyan tree. So we all broke open the seed. What did you find in it? But there must be something in it. Something that is non-matter. Something that is non-matter was there in it, and maybe that was the potentiality that can blossom into a huge tree. What vibration was that? What vibration was that? More than 10,000 years ago, our ancients had discovered it. What scientists now, I think, Nautiyalji, do they call it the God particle or something?
As you very rightly said, matter is made of molecules. Molecules are made of atoms. Atoms are made of electron, proton, and neutrons. And these electron, neutron, protons themselves are made of what we call quarks. Beyond that, we still don't know. People say that there is a theory called string theory, which would explain it all. But still we are, maybe the matter and the energy, they are just interchangeable and they change into each other. So still scientists haven't reached the final truth.
They haven't
God
been.
particle is a term given to a particle which is otherwise known as Higgs boson.
Okay. Okay.
But that God is the term there is misleading. Actually, the Higgs himself, Professor Peter Higgs, who discovered it, he happened to talk to a journalist and he said this goddamn particle. So the journalists really liked the term goddamn, they took the damn off and they made it God particle. But actually there is nothing like a God particle. People call it Higgs boson.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So, for us, at least us in the spiritual retreat, this whole universe is made of one substance. One substance. Our ancients had discovered it. We are not questioning it. And that one substance is the divine himself, God himself. And he vibrates differently. He vibrates differently in the inanimate rock. He vibrates differently in the plant. He vibrates differently in the animal. He vibrates differently in human beings. But even in human beings, he vibrates differently in the crook and he vibrates differently in the sage. But he is there in each one of us. So, I repeat, there is only one substance and that is God. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. The truth is one and the wise express it in different ways. Now, we've come to the conclusion that there is only one substance, it is God. But if we had to describe God in one word, what would that word be? God is love. Yes, perfect answer by Dr. Vinod Ji Solanki.
राम ही केवल प्रेम प्यारा जाने लेव जो जानने हारा.
Wonderful. So I think
Otherwise we can't know what love is. और जानने का तरीका क्या है? सोई जाने जई देहु जनाई. जानत तुम्हें होई जाई.
तुम्हें होई जाए. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, our question was, who is God? We've understood that all is God. Now, who is God? God is love. In fact, if God had to be described in one word, अपने लिए इतने अच्छे से बता दिया है विनोद जी ने, that adjective would be love. Now, how does God love us? God loves us, all human beings, equally. He loves the saint and the sinner equally. But there is something in us that prevents us from perceiving, from experiencing Him, experiencing His divine love. What in us prevents us from experiencing His love? Can somebody tell me?
Ma'am, my name is Tanishka. I'm from 7D. Ma'am, it is Atma.
What prevents us from experiencing love? Atma to khud love hai. Okay, you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
maybe ego.
Yes. Yes.
Desire.
Desire. So you all are speaking out from the Gita.
Ma'am, ignorance.
Ignorance. Excellent. Our obscurity, our darkness, our desires, and our ego. What answers you children are giving? These prevent us from perceiving and from experiencing His divine love. See, our vision of the universe is, I am at the center and all of you are around me. Is that true? if I were at the center, then if I would be talking and nobody of you would be around me, would my talk be successful? No, no. You all were singing, but there was nobody to listen to you. So we are not at the center. We have to understand that. Because we are so full of ourselves, we leave no room for the divine. Right? He is there always.
I'll just go a little, 2 steps back, ma'am. You said that love is a mighty vibration. It is something which is a force, and it is also an action, and which the very strong and the very capable.
Pure.
Yeah. So, ma'am, that means that love is a rarity, because not all of us are very strong and very pure to receive it and manifest it.
It is not a rarity. What happens that they had given an example also, that suppose there's pure milk, and you have a sieve which is a little dirty. Now when you're putting the pure milk through it, in the glass what is coming is milk which has become slightly muddy. Unclean, muddy.
Yeah.
So this is the way of receiving. If the receptacle through which we are receiving, which is our mind, our vital and our physical. That's why in the day one, the first talk was that we have to keep strengthening and purifying and making our physical being, our vital being and our mental being more and more perfect. The work of a student, the work of an adult, the work of anybody is to purify all the outer being. Till then we are receiving the love. If we were not receiving love, we would not be alive. The very fact that we are alive, the very fact that we are smiling is because the divine love has been experienced. But the quantity and the quality of the love that we are receiving depends on our purity and our strength.
And our strength.
Yes.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, and our perfection that we have reached.
This is like there is signal all around.
Yes.
But our antennas have to be tuned to that.
Absolutely. This is exactly what we said on day one. That our minds are like radios. And there are all kinds of vibrations everywhere. If we are tuned to the divine vibration, we'll continuously be channelized here. But if you are tuned to, say, pessimistic thoughts, the pessimistic thoughts are all around. Short wave, medium wave, radio mirchi, it's all over. Hotstar, Disney, Hotstar, Sony, Live, you call it, it's all there. We don't have to go to the first floor for Sony and second floor for Disney Hotstar. It's all here. Depending on where we are tuned, we pick up that vibration. So that's where purity comes in. That is where our strength, our willpower. What did Shraddhalu say? What are the three things? Can somebody tell me? Focus, willpower. Focus is concentration. Equanimity. Yes, remember, focus, willpower and equanimity, samatha. Once we work on these three, we will work on the perfection of all the three outer beings. Right? Clear? Those of us who are open to God's influence and presence are capable of receiving and experiencing love. We are all actually, literally, bathing in that atmosphere. Even now, the divine love is as if it's just flowing down. You can imagine it like a golden dust which is being sprinkled right now. Right now, all of us are being sprinkled by the golden dust of divine love. Divine love is just flowing and flowing right now. How many of us are really tuned to it? How many of us want to catch that vibration right now? I'm talking of here and now. How many of us want to catch that vibration? How many of us want to tune to that vibration? Sure? 100% sure? Okay, then tune. Remember, learn how to tune. Yes. All we have to do is open ourselves to it. And like a sponge, we can constantly soak it. Yes. Let us read it together, children. Love is a mighty vibration coming straight from the One, and only the very pure and very strong are capable of receiving and manifesting. So, you have to remember that we have not only to receive it, we have also to manifest it. Remember that we spoke about that vibration right now. Right now, that vibration is all around us. Those of us who can tune into it right now will be able to experience it right now, here and now. Right? But when we go to search for love in ourselves, in our fellow human beings, what do we find? We find many imperfections. Like you all said, we find desire, we find ego, we find lot of difficulties. And this makes us question His presence in the universe. The question that arises at this juncture is, if we are God Himself, then why is He perfect and why are we imperfect? Can somebody give me an answer to that?
I'm Sonakshi of class 8 NF region, and ma'am, I think the difference between God and us is that when we offer God our good deeds, we offer Him our mistakes also, and He accepts it. But we don't accept someone's mistake. We only accept their good deeds. We only accept what is good in them and not the bad. So ma'am, I think that's the difference.
Okay, so I'm not asking about what is the difference between God and us. Now let me give you the answer. Can we have the next slide and then we'll explain. So the question was, why is He perfect? Why are we imperfect? Because we are essentially God's work in progress. This is the reason there are imperfections. Because God has manifested Himself and become other than Himself. He became other than Himself, And when He became other than Himself, He chose to find His own perfect self, like Vinodji had told us, that the mother, her perfect self, came and planted herself inside us. So, my outer being, my outer physical, my outer vital emotional being, my mental being is imperfect. But within me is perfection. And the outer being is imperfect, it's going towards perfection. Right? So those of us who are conscious of this inner call, those who are conscious that we are on a journey, and I'm going to consciously tread on this journey, then we will keep connecting to the perfect inside us, keep offering what we are doing to them, to that inside perfect, and keep inviting the inside perfect outside. And consciously we will do this journey, and we will be able to do this journey in a much better way, because we'll be more conscious through this whole journey. And it is to make you students conscious of this inner quest, this quest of the soul for perfection of our outer being, that your school, St. M.R. Jaipuria School, constantly speaks about transforming yourself consciously all the time. It is for this reason that your school is called School of Conscious Transformation. We are all designed in that manner. We are made imperfect, but something within us, inside us, is constantly striving for perfection. Someone within us is constantly whispering to our physical body. What is it telling the physical body? We did it in the first aim of spiritual retreat. What should the physical body be? Strong, healthy, hygienic, agile, supple, beautiful. Beautiful is not skin deep. Beautiful is beautiful. The surroundings that we live in should be beautiful, organized. Now, what is the inmost being talking about for the emotional being? What should our emotional being be? It should become vaster, deeper, and wider. Can't be me, mine. What about the mental being? To make the mental being perfect, what does it have to be? It has to have clarity. It has to have stillness. Right? Only when it is still, it will be able to receive from the higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind, supermind. Right? And who is that someone who whispers from within us? Yes, within us lies perfection. Within us, in the center of our heart cavity, is our soul. Our soul is perfect. It is God Himself who became individualized. He lives within us, and that God is love. See, God was like a white fire, and from that white fire, many sparks came out. Many sparks came out. Each one of us is one of those sparks. What is the potentiality of a spark that comes out of the fire? It has the potentiality that it can become the whole fire. Similarly, each one of us has the potentiality to become as perfect as God. Right? So, children, just like we just discussed the example of a fire, and from the fire many sparks come out, and each one of us is one of those sparks. And each one of us, because God is within us, the perfect is within us, so all of us have the potentiality to become that again. Right? So, the divine, who is at the same time one, and at the same time he has become many, so that divine manifests himself in this universe through separate centers of consciousness. Each one of us is one of those centers. Essentially, each one of us has the divine potentiality within us. But if there was no love, then these centers would have remained eternally separate. You would have been separate, she would have been separate, I would have been separate, the environment would have been separate, the plant kingdom would have been separate, animal kingdom would have been separate, and matter would have been separate. And each would have evolved in its own way, at its own speed, but without a deep contact with each other. What would be missing would have been the consciousness of our identity, the consciousness of our unity with each other and with the divine. And this would have led to a complete disconnect with each other, our disconnect with the plant and animal kingdom, with the elements, with the environment. But in reality, we experience a subtle underlying connection with all. We hear of the hardships that our Jawans are suffering on the border, and our heart fills with compassion. Why does that happen to us? Because we are all one, we are connected by a worldwide web of unity, harmony, and oneness. We hear of a bereavement in a friend's home, and our heart wells up with love for her. We see a bullock being whipped, and tears start rolling out of our eyes. You must have heard of the example of Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans. When he was seeing a bullock being whipped on the road, his back started bleeding. We see the suffering of Mother Earth. We see the suffering of a bird or a fish or an animal or a cow who has eaten a plastic bag, and it impacts us. And we immediately feel we have to change. We must change our lifestyle to alleviate these creatures from their suffering. The aspect of the divine which has taken up the task of bridging this gap between the separate manifestations of the divine is love. Love emanates from the underlying unity of oneness, unity of mutuality, unity of fraternity, unity of love. In addition, it is love that is a hidden force in the evolution of the universe. And it is love that will accomplish the divine work on earth. It is important for a student, in fact, it is important for each one of us to learn deeply about love. Dear students, imagine that the golden dust of divine love is constantly being sprinkled from above. You think you're imagining, but it is actually happening. It is constantly sprinkling from above. Divine love is sprinkling from above. Become a fit receptacle to experience that divine love. Those of us who are open to it will receive it. If at your young age you have learned to connect to the presence of psychic love, the soul within you, then you will be able to blossom more beautifully in the garden of God. As you grow older, your fragrance of love will permeate this universe. So, now we are going to talk about one of the most important things, and that is we're going to try to experience that divine love right here and now. How are we going to do it? First of all, we'll connect to the divine within us. Can we connect with the divine within us? And can we at the same time try to connect with the divine love which is flowing all the time, all around us? Can you try to do that, both of them together? Yes? When we are able to connect with the vibrations of divine love pulsating all around us, what did Nautiyal sir say to us? That we have to tune into the divine love. Frequency milwana hai. Right? And what else do we have to connect to? The psychic love within. And then we will be able to connect with the divine, with the vibrations of that love. Here and now. To show to you that somebody had done that. We are going to come to the next slide. The mother experienced vibrations of the divine love. On the night of 12th and 13th April 1962, she has said it in the Mother's Agenda, and the Mother's Agenda is there in your middle school library. On April 13th, 1962, she said, and I quote, "Suddenly," this is the mother speaking, "suddenly, in the night, I woke up with the full awareness of what we could call the yoga of the world. The supreme love was manifesting through big pulsations, and each pulsation was bringing the world further in its manifestation. It was the formidable pulsations of the eternal, stupendous love. Only love. Each pulsation of the love was carrying the universe further in its manifestation. And the certitude that what is to be done is done, and the supramental manifestation is realized. Everything was personal. Nothing was individual. This was going on and on, and on and on. The certitude that what is to be done is done. All the results of the falsehood had disappeared. Death was an illusion. Sickness was an illusion. Ignorance was an illusion. Something that had no reality, no existence. Only love and love and love and love. Immense, formidable, stupendous, carrying everything." Unquote. The mother. So, I would like to end with this background. Let us for this moment, in the words of the mother, become strong and pure and connect to the divine vibration of love flowing from above. It's a strong vibration. This is Mother's organ music.
Ma'am, I'm Samarveer Singh from class 7G. Ma'am, as you said, our ego, darkness, etc., ma'am, they prevent us from experiencing love. So, ma'am, does ma'am hatred also come in the list?
Where does hatred come from? I hate,
Negative energy.
I hate him, or I hate her. That where is what is big in this? What have we made very big in it? I hate her or him. What is the big point in it? I. Where is this I from?
Ma'am, from our soul.
Ego.
Oh,
Yeah? So hatred is part of ego. Nile?
Ma'am, in the starting you said that even non-living things like stone also have love present in this. Ma'am, can you explain this?
Who became the universe? Is this universe a creation of God? Or is it a becoming of God?
Ma'am, creation of God?
I had spoken about it today and earlier.
Ma'am, it is becoming of God.
It's a becoming of God. Creation क्या होता है? That you see an artwork, any artwork, an artist has done that and gone away. So where the artwork is hanging in my living room, is the artist in the artwork?
No, ma'am.
Is he actually become the canvas, become the art?
No, ma'am.
No. So this is a creation. But when God himself has expanded and become the universe, can we call it creation or becoming?
Ma'am, becoming.
Becoming. So what is the stone?
Ma'am, becoming of the God.
And what is God?
Ma'am, God is a divine,
God
the
is
Almighty.
What is the nature of love? God, nature of God in one word?
Ma'am, love.
So
Okay.
will the stone emit love or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So do the deduction.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
And
ma'am.
yeah. Thank you.
Arna Srivastav
Arna,
from class
yeah.
7D. And ma'am, my question is that how do we know if we love someone or something?
How do we know?
Yes, ma'am.
Ask your own self. Don't ask your vital being. Ask your mental being, ask your vital being. Then go into stillness and ask your inmost being. It'll take time, but you will hear the answer from your inmost being. Yes? There are no answers like this, that how do I know? That will I start dancing? Will I start singing? Will I start getting dressed up? These are all superficial responses to what we call love. Right?
Vande Mataram, ma'am. I am Icha Singh of class 9th Navsrijan. So, as you said, that love is a force and an action. So, ma'am, how love is an action?
When you see from a little seed, a whole big tree comes out. What is it but God's love? that has become the seed and which has become that huge tree to give us shade, to give us fruit, to give us flowers, to give us oxygen, to give us so much. Is it a force? Is it an action?
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever we have in this world, first of all, our own body. Is it not God's force and action that has become this body? What a perfect digestive system. We get hurt here and blood comes out, and immediately somebody comes in like a boat, some white blood cells or something that comes, and then the blood clots. What is it? Platelets. What happens? What is it? It's
An
God's
action, yes,
love, which has designed us in such a beautiful manner. Do we even come to know what kind of force is working inside us to digest our food? Or the blood that is circulating and giving blood? All over the body, the blood is being circulated. The heart is pumping like this. What kind of love must there be in God to have designed such an instrument? Such a fantastic instrument. So what has designed it? God's love.
Yes.
Made it perfect. He said, इसका मैं ध्यान रख लूँगा. अब तुम अपने physical being, vital emotional being, mental being. Because अब हम लोग, we have become human beings. Till we were animals, because there's evolution going on. Till we were animals, this work was not designated to us. God was taking care, and those of the apes which were ready for being used as a laboratory to be turned into a human being, those bodies were used by Shakti herself, and she used the body of the ape, and the ape slowly, steadily, gradually turned into a human being. But now, God said, I have now evolved into the mind. So now I am not in charge of your evolution. Now the ball is in our court. Those of us who will consciously collaborate with God, consciously collaborate with the Shakti, consciously choose to transform ourselves to become better and better, better and better. Why? What is the aim of our life? What has Sri Krishna said? We talked about it day one. Mad bhava magatah. Become my-natured. Look at where we have to reach. Look at where we are. So those of us who will consciously collaborate, this journey will become easier.
Yes.
And it will become faster. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Have we answered your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Vande Mataram, ma'am. I'm Mehak
Vande Mataram.
from class 8, Navsrijan.
Lovely questions from you all. Yes?
Ma'am, my question is different from the topic. I want to ask that in silence time we play mother's organ music. I want to know that mother has played it by herself.
Yes, mother has played it by herself. It's an organ that she had. Huh? Kanika ma'am is saying it's called a church organ. I don't know. I know it's something like different from a piano. It's not a piano, it's a much smaller. Kanika ma'am is saying it's called a church organ. So, the question that Abhedya had was, why only mother's organ music? And I said that what is the aim of our school? The aim of our school is to provide you such an atmosphere that whatever you see all around you, whatever you hear, all of it should be able to have the effect of raising your consciousness. So the music that we play should also raise your consciousness. And this we know for sure that when the mother played the organ music, she was in her highest consciousness. She was always in the highest consciousness, and if it is music played by her, it has the capacity of raising our consciousness. I also gave an example to Abhedya of Jagjit Singh. Jagjit Singh was asked by the what was it called? The producer to sing Om Anandamayi Chaitanyamayi Satyamayi Parame. Beautiful. So Jagjit Singh sang, and when you are doing recording, you have to take many takes till it becomes perfect. The first time he sung it, the producer said, it's perfect. There's no need to sing again. Jagjit Singh said, no, it's not good enough. He sang again. Again, the producer said, it's perfect. But Jagjit Singh said, no, I'm going to sing again. It's not perfect. And he went on doing this till around, I don't know the exact number, but I heard somewhere like 18, 19, 20 times. And then finally in the 1920th time, Jagjit Singh said, now you can take this. So the producer and all those musicians said, why Jagjit Singh ji, why did you do that? It was as perfect the first time. And you know what Jagjit Singh answered? He said, I was not playing at my highest consciousness. My consciousness was seated in my mind, which was calculating कि स्वर सही है ना, ताल सही है ना, मैं सही गा रहा हूँ ना. तो मेरा consciousness was on how am I singing. Then the second time also I started with calling Ma, Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi. But I went down again back to, am I singing right? Is the tal right? And he said, every time I would try to focus. The word is, increase my concentration and let it stay there. But through the whole singing, somewhere or the other, the concentration would move back to my singing. How am I singing it? But this time, I was only focused on Ma. And I was only calling her out. I was only calling her out. That music is sung at the highest consciousness. And what do we want to do here? We want to raise our consciousness. So that is why the mother's organ music is played in the school all the time. All right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, my name is Raghav Jaswal from class 7A. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that, ma'am, what is the music played, ma'am, when the long bell has rung, and ma'am, who is singing it?
So the poem that is being sung is written by Kapali Shastri ji himself. So you should Google and find out. Kapali Shastri ji has written unbelievable literature. And it is all being put together by, I think there is a Sansatha of Kapali Shastri ji, where all that he has written is being put together. And Dr. Sampadanand Mishra, with whom we have written the Sanskrit curriculum for you, the Deva Bhasha curriculum, he is part of that Kapali Shastri Sansatha. And this is music written by Kapali Shastri and sung by Vasanti Di. Vasanti Di, now, yeah, she's still there in Sri Aurobindo Ashram. If I tell you about Vasanti Di, you will not believe it. I think I've taken some of you teachers to Vasanti Di. Yes? Do you want to hear about Vasanti Di, the one who's singing? Taken so many friends and so many teachers to her. Now she must be like in her 90s. When she was young, she was in somewhere near the tea gardens or something. I may be wrong about the space. She was 2 years old. And when she would be playing out in the garden, Sri Krishna himself would come. And she would play with Krishna. Actually play with Krishna. They would make garlands, they would run around. And this continued till she was around 7 or 8 years old. And when she was 8 years old, he told her one day, and an 8-year-old child is a child. So he told her that now I am going. And so she said, then when will I meet you? So Krishna said to her, I will meet you as your guru. Ab an 8-year-old child doesn't ask, when will I meet my guru? Who will be my guru? Nothing like that. It was just like so spontaneous, so childlike. She said, okay. And then he didn't come. And then she started missing him. And she would keep telling her mother, take me to some guru. So all through her life, her mother would keep taking her to some guru or the other. And she would not see that Krishna who she was playing with. And this went on and on and on till once her father had some work in Pondicherry. So they came to Pondicherry together. And then they came to know कि यहाँ पे भी है कोई. So they tried to get an appointment with Sri Aurobindo, but Sri Aurobindo never used to meet anybody. But chance that not that visit, but the next time the father had work in Pondicherry, they went and she got an appointment or whatever, a darshan of, it's called darshan of Sri Aurobindo. And you have to see it when she speaks. I have the recording if I look for it in my phone. When she was speaking it, I recorded. She says, I was just 13 or 14 and the door opened, and who was sitting there? It was Krishna. It was my own, very own Krishna sitting there. And I knew that he had come now. He had come to meet me. And I just touched his feet, and from then on, she told her parents, she said, I can't leave from here now. I've met my Krishna again. And yeah, that is Vasanti Di. So this is sung by Vasanti Di, Kanika ma'am is saying. Mona ma'am is saying, yeah. So, yes.
I'm Trishala Agarwal from class 7E.
Yes.
And my question is that sometimes we get
Sometimes we get
possessive over people we love. How can we prevent that?
See, we have learned the secret. We have learned the secret through Sanskrit mantras. We have learned the secret through so many ways. The secret is that what do we offer to God? We don't offer only all that is bright and beautiful. Because bright and beautiful He'll take. But who will help us to transform the dark and ugly? We have to take hold of that possession and talk to the soul within, because that is God Himself. And say, can you help me? Can you help me to loosen this knot of possessiveness? Let him, you go on. What do we have to do? Two things simultaneously we talked about. Offering and effort. If you only offer and there is no effort, it doesn't happen. If you only do effort and there is no offering, it will take longer. But if you do offering and make an effort together, then very slowly and steadily, you will be able to let go of that possessiveness. Yes? And then you will feel so joyous. Because in possession, there is really no joy. It's a very dark joy and doesn't really give you joy. The joy is in letting go. All right?
I'm Priyamvada of class 12th. Mom, so while we were meditating, I was thinking about this metaphor. Mom, that life is like a beautiful meadow, like with the sun shining, and our only aim is to run as fast as we can to our highest potential. But in the path of life, we are weighed down, sometimes by the weight of our failures, and also sometimes by the medals of our achievement. So if we have to climb that wall, as Tulika Rani ji said today, we have to let go of all our physical material possessions. So to climb on that wall of love, on that mountain of love, the only way is to surrender. Mom, as you said right now, we have to let go. So the only sure way to love God is to surrender everything, our weaknesses, our strengths, our flaws, our beauties, and then we can reach the summit of that mountain.
Very beautifully said, Priyambada. Absolutely beautiful. And when we let go, it doesn't mean that we cannot enjoy. Because sometimes when we use the word surrender again and again, we start thinking that we have to wear orange robes and go on some mountains or go on some peaks. Not at all. You see, our Vedic rishis have discovered everything. And what have they discovered? That the sun is a symbol of the divine's will that we want to manifest through us, right? Sun is at the center. And who are the four guards who we have to make them happy by becoming them, and only then we will get an entry into the divine will, and then the divine will manifest through us. Who are those four sentinels? First in line, Varuna. What does Varuna stand for? Vastness. What does that take care of? Our emotional being, which has become sankeen, me, mine. So we talked about letting go. So we have to first become vast, Varuna. Who is the second sentinel? Mitra. When we start becoming vaster, then there is the god. What is that god called? Mitra. First god is Varuna. Second is Mitra. Mitra is the god of friendship. So then when we become vaster and vaster and vaster and vaster, then we become friendlier and friendlier. There are no me and mine. We are all Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? After that, very important god. Third god, Aryaman. What does Aryaman stand for? Yeah, who said that? Very good, Priyambada. The third god is Aryaman, the god of tapasya, the god of effort, hard work. Without doing any hard work, we can reach the divine's will. Will the divine will manifest through us if we are just vaster and vaster? We have to make an effort, right? And the fourth god, very important god, Bhaga. Bhaga is the god of enjoyment. Yes, we must learn to enjoy. God, nowhere in the Vedas have the rishis spoken of sannyasa. Nowhere have they spoken of letting go, don't enjoy, don't laugh, don't smile. In fact, the Isha Upanishad says, Isha vasya midam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grida kasya svidhanam. All this belongs to the divine, and all that should be offered to him, and after offering you must learn to enjoy. So we must remember there's no harm, there's no need to run away from enjoyment. All right? So, yes sir. Arey वाह अतुल जी.
Ma'am, I just want to add on to what Priyambada said because मैं ये शब्द मिस कर रहा था अभी तक इस सेशन में. समर्पण शब्द बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि समर्पण के बिना प्रेम की कल्पना संभव नहीं है. और जिन्होंने प्रेम किया है उन्होंने समर्पण इस हद तक कर दिया है कि मैं अपनी माला, अपना टीका ये भी छोड़ रहा हूँ. मुझे ये भी नहीं करना है, मैं ये भी समर्पित करता हूँ. कबीरदास कहते हैं, माला जपूँ ना कर जपूँ मुख से कहूँ ना राम. माला जपूँ ना कर जपूँ मुख से कहूँ ना राम. राम हमारा हमें जपे हम पावे विश्राम. भला हुआ मेरी माला टूटी मैं राम भजन से भी छूटी. मुझे ये आडंबर भी नहीं करने, मुझे ये आडंबर भी नहीं करने.
वेरी ब्यूटीफुल.
क्योंकि जब प्रेम उस मयार पर पहुंच जाता है कि आप अपना सब कुछ दे देते हैं तो भक्त और भगवान एक हो जाते हैं.
हाँ जी.
और कई बार भक्त भगवान से ऊपर निकल जाते हैं, फिर भगवान कोशिश करके भक्त से ऊपर जाते हैं. जो जयदेव की कविता है गीता गोविंदा, उसमें राधा जी कृष्ण से बड़ी हैं, 5-6 वर्ष बड़ी हैं. और उसमें बड़ा अच्छा प्रसंग है कि जब गोपियाँ सब कृष्ण के आसपास खड़ी हैं, राधा दूर खड़ी हैं, राधा उनकी तरफ देख भी नहीं रही हैं, तो कृष्ण कहते हैं कि तुम मुझसे कुछ बात नहीं कर रही हो, कुछ मांग लो. राधा कहती हैं क्या दे सकते हो? कृष्ण ने कहा सब कुछ. मैंने काले नाग को मार के अपने गांव को बचाया, पर्वत उठाया, वर्षा से बचाया, प्रेम दिया. तो राधा कहती हैं जो सबको सब कुछ देता है मैं उसको अपना सब कुछ देना चाहती हूँ. तुम सबको देते रहो पर मुझसे मेरा सब कुछ ले लो. तो ये समर्पण बहुत ज़रूरी है प्रेम में, क्योंकि समर्पण निधि है दीवानों की बंदे. समर्पण बिना प्रेम फलता नहीं है. क्षितिज की दीवानी वो दरिया अधूरी, पानी जो सिंधु में मिलता नहीं है. समर्पण निधि है दीवानों की बंदे, समर्पण बिना प्रेम फलता नहीं है.
ब्यूटीफुल.
थैंक यू सो मच.
हम लोगों ने ये वर्ड समर्पण नहीं यूज किया है, बट थ्रू द ऑल 4 days ऑफरिंग वी बीन यूजिंग द वर्ड ऑफरिंग.
यस,
जिसमें हम जो भी करते हैं, जो भी सोचते हैं, जो भी इमोशन फील करते हैं, माने मेंटल, वाइटल एंड फिजिकल, सब कुछ ईश्वर को बार बार अर्पण करते हैं. जी, ऑफर करते हैं और उनको उसमें इनवाइट करते हैं कि आप आइए, आज मैं बोलने जा रही हूँ, यू स्पीक थ्रू मी. आज मैं सुनने जा रही हूँ अतुल जी को, यू हियर थ्रू मी. तो उस इन अ वे वो समर्पण है. बट ये शब्द बहुत ज़रूरी है. आपने बहुत सही कहा, बहुत सुंदर सुनाया. थैंक यू सो मच.
Ma'am, while during the song time, ma'am, in Indian vocal music there was a song Bande. In that there was a line, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधु मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में. यानी कि मैम गॉड इज़ ट्राइंग टू टेल अस कि भगवान कहना चाहते हैं मैं विश्वास में हूँ, तुम बस मुझ में विश्वास करते रहो, मैं तो हमेशा तुम्हारे आसपास रहूँगा।
ये विश्वास करो, कबीरदास जी कह रहे हैं कि मैं तो तेरे पास हूँ. दैट्स व्हाट कबीरदास जी से, कि मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में. और क्या विश्वास? ये विश्वास कि मैं तो हूँ तेरे पास में, राइट हियर इनसाइड यू, राइट.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am, but it is not related to the topic. Ma'am, if matter can neither be created nor destroyed, ma'am, then how does Brahm created this world?
We talked about it, but we can talk about it again. What is God? Who is God?
Ma'am, God is love.
But God was, is, and will be.
Yes, ma'am.
God didn't need a mother's womb to be born. He is not born. He is Swayambhu. He was always there. So that is why the matter that he has become, that will keep changing its form. It will never end, because that is God. God has become the matter. Right? When a body dies, then if it is burnt, what does it become? It becomes the 5 elements again. So it just changes its form. But matter remains in this universe.
Yes, ma'am. Constant.
Yes. All right?
Okay, ma'am.
Got the answer?
Regarding the vital being, that ma'am, we say all of our emotions are in the vital being. So ma'am, I had a question regarding science with this with this topic, that ma'am, many of our emotions are dependent on hormones as well, which are chemical messengers, indeed physical. So ma'am, can't we say many of our emotions are also a part of our physical being only?
Yes, the mother and Sri Aurobindo have said it very clearly, but it's so difficult to explain these things. Sri Aurobindo has written copiously on it, that the physical, he doesn't say that there's only physical, vital and mental. He said there's a vital physical, there's a mental physical, there's a physical vital, there's a mental vital, then there's a physical mental, and there's a vital mental. So they are all interrelated. You're absolutely 100% right. But those are subtleties that have to be read, they have to be understood, they have to be digested. Yeah? But you're right, 100% right. They're
Thank
all,
you.
because everything is connected. In fact, one part of the talk that I let go, but I shouldn't have let go, is that love is not something that is, if love was something that is separate in you and separate in you and separate in you, then we would never have been one. But actually, the beauty of the divine, sit down, beta. The beauty of the divine love is that the divine love is something that unifies. There is a oneness in the divine love. When there is a, let's take a highest example, then we'll speak of example at our level. Ramakrishna Paramhans was walking on the road, and a bullock was being whipped, and blood was oozing out of Sri Ramakrishna's back. How could that happen? If that oneness, that subtle oneness, were not always present, right? So that oneness is there. It is that oneness that makes us feel bad when a friend is going through a period of grief, because we are actually connected. There's a web. There's all of us. There's only one physical matter. And we think that I am a different body and you're a different body. Actually, the physical matter, as matter, there is only one matter. There is one vital being. There is one mental being. Every time I think of a negative thought, I actually add to the negativity of the mental plane of the universe. Such is that oneness. Right? So the divine love is that which creates that oneness, that unity. Right?
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm Arjun Singh from class 8A. Ma'am, I've been wondering why can't we just be content with our lives that they are, ma'am? Because in the grand scheme of things we might not matter, but to ourselves, our emotions, everything in our life matters, ma'am. ma'am, this is my main criticism of spiritualism, that it is too not that it is focused on the grander scheme of things, but in our lives we are our friends, our family matters. Even though we have short lives, it is still a life, and we will and
Okay,
as long as we are alive, we are still and the importance of life is still there.
Yes, the importance of life is there. But what is this spiritual retreat helping you to do? You're saying your friends matter, your family matters, right, Arjun? Your friends and family matter, right? Now, if you rise in your consciousness, your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your family, your relationship with everybody around you becomes better. Because you're trying to become vaster, wider, deeper. So that is why the spiritual retreat is helping us to improve those relationships that matter to you. Does your health matter to you? If you're sick, will you be able to enjoy life?
No, ma'am.
No. So what is the spiritual retreat telling you? That we have to become healthier. We have to have more hygiene in our body. We have to be more organized. We have to look after, what did we talk? To look after every muscle of our body. So if swimming is helping us do one thing in our body, athletics is taking care of another part of our body. If weight training is helping us do something, then playing basketball and cricket is doing something else. We have to take care of everything so our body is healthy. Because the body matters to you. Right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
My name is Adhiran Tandon of class 7G. Ma'am, there are 7 chakras in our body. So ma'am, how is it connected to our body, and is it a part of our psychic being, mental being, vital being, or physical being?
So all the chakras, they are like centers of consciousness. We're talking of consciousness all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are places which are outside. They're not really inside. They're little behind our body. And this is where the energy is actually centered. The energy of the throat is centered around the throat chakra, the ajna chakra, the crown chakra. And I don't know, one child over here, I don't remember the name, kept saying कि आपको बोला था ना विनोद जी कि मेरे को
चक्र के बारे में बता दीजिए, ओपन करने के बारे में।
हाँ,
ओपनिंग ऑफ द चक्र,
कि ओपनिंग ऑफ द चक्रास करना है, और हमको वो क्या कहते हैं उसको जो नीचे से ऊपर, कुंडलिनी
कुंडलिनी, हाँ, मूलाधार से
सो बेटा अभी ये उम्र नहीं है. वी डोंट हैव टू थिंक अबाउट द चक्रास जस्ट नाउ. बट अगर आपके माइंड में चक्रास आए हैं तो जब आप मेडिटेशन करें, the right way to enter into the chakras is to start working on the crown chakra. You remember the higher and higher levels of mind?
Yes, ma'am.
So to be able to access those higher levels of mind, if we are able to work on this chakra, then we open ourselves to the higher parts of the divine. But those who have heard about this Kundalini, it is a very dangerous path. Very, 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 very dangerous. Because it starts working from the Mooladhar. And when the Mooladhar gets open, you get open to the dirt and the filth and the most difficult situations of life. So please don't even think about it. Whoever over here had asked. If you're working, if you're meditating, meditate on your heart chakra, or meditate on your crown chakra, or meditate on your Ajna chakra. But there's no need, just meditate. Meditate on the love which is there within you. There's no need for anything else. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, my name is Tanishka. I'm from 7D. Ma'am, how to express gratitude towards love?
How to express gratitude towards love?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so who is love? Who is love personified?
Ma'am, God.
God. Where is God? We've talked about it. Where is God?
Ma'am, in us.
Here. Our own soul is God himself in his perfect manifestation. So God is so close. And हम लोग ने क्या बोला? मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे? So उसको thank you करो. वही तो love है ना?
Ma'am, I'm Sonakshi of class 8 Nafrijan, and ma'am, we know that all of us are souls who have a purpose of finding God who is within us. So ma'am, if all of us have the same purpose, so ma'am, what makes us different from each other? Ma'am, our souls. Ma'am, how are they different?
Yes, very, very, very good question. So, we are all at different spaces. Somebody has evolved so much. Somebody, from the time when we were apes, from that time we are all evolving. We didn't start like in a race all together, ready, steady, go, dush. No, somebody started a little later. And while somebody who started later may have been more conscious while they're transforming themselves. So they picked up and they came faster. So everybody is at different levels of evolution. But everybody is moving towards Mad Bhavam Agata. We are all, some of us are consciously working towards perfecting our outer being. Some of us are unconscious about it. Those who are unconscious will take a little longer maybe. But we are all working on the same, walking on the same path. But we are at different places. And there's no race. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. ठीक है? I think we should end with 30 seconds of silence.